set. Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo. Whoa.
Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? Welcome back to another edition, another episode, another Victory Monday with my bros. We got Celts, we got Bay Area Baller, we got Amin the Dream. The whole crew is here to start the show. So welcome back to Straight Out of the Bay. What a time to be a 49er fan. It was definitely stressful watching that game for sure on Saturday night, but hopefully everyone had a great weekend. How is everyone doing? Quick round table. Amin the Dream, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Mondays obviously the start back of the school week. Obviously people going back to work on Mondays, but I mean it's definitely a better Monday when your team gets a W on the weekend and gets to see another week. So can't complain, doing well.
No, absolutely. How you doing, E?
Hey, I'm feeling good. I think that game took a couple years off the back end of me, but hey, we'll be all right. Niners got the dub. That's what matters. Happy to be here and talk ball.
Yeah, man, I think I'm right there along with the mean and baller. Like my heart was pumping through that game, man. But it let me know I'm well and alive. And man, sometimes life does get stressful. Today was one of those kind of days. But hey, man, I'm here. It's good. It's finishing off the right way. So let's get it. Victory Monday. Regardless, a dub is a dub. That's the way I'm looking at it. But we'll get into it.
No, absolutely. It was not a picture perfect performance, to say the least. The 49ers do end up winning, though, 24-21 over the Green Bay Packers. The Packers gave us all we could handle. That's for sure. I know we weren't hitting on all cylinders, but we'll definitely get into that. I got to say, what's good to everyone that's in the chat right now. We have E. Kim, we have Jesus, Mr. Laidback, we got Brandon, Raphael, Daniel. Appreciate everyone that's tuning into the stream right now, whether you're watching on Jay in the Bay, Celts, Amin the Dream, Bay Area Baller, or Straight Out of the Bay. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. But fellas, we got to talk about this game, and I wanted to get your general overall thoughts about the game. After this performance by the 49ers, Brock looked iffy. Moody technically missed a kick. Dre Greenlaw had a hell of a game. Demo Lenore. There's definitely some standouts in this game, but overall, I mean, the Packers were running the ball down our throat. We couldn't really stop them. Jordan Love made some plays as well, but overall, are you encouraged or discouraged by this 49ers performance against the Packers? Let's start off with Celts Chronicles. How do you feel, man?
Man, I feel like I am like in the middle with a lot of things. It's like I feel like we gained the most valuable experience we possibly could have gained having this kind of a win. But then on the flip side, I'm like, man, it feels like it should have never even come to that. But I mean, there's a gang of adversity. I mean, you got uncertainty and just even the way the game started. Oh, Brock's got a glove. Oh, he doesn't have a glove. And just even that, it's like, I don't like it, just not knowing which way you want to go, so, but I did talk in the past, hey, do whatever it takes. If you got to put a glove on. So I was encouraged to see that, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, at least they're trying, but I never want to be experimenting when I'm in the playoffs, and I felt that kind of a way. Just a few different ways, man. So it was just a lot of mixed emotions. It was just like, it just felt like a grueling struggle pretty much the whole freaking game. Yelling, screaming along with the chat. Man, what's up, Raphael 562 Niners? Yee! So, man, it was just It was all over the place for me, man. It was, I threw on Twitter. I was like, man, I threw a prayer out. I think that's the first time I ever prayed for football, just out of respect for, the way I go about my God. So yeah, I got desperate, bro. I got that desperate. I can't remember exactly when it was, but yeah, just a lot of things, man. Just generally, it was like it was good to see Brock Purdy, do what he did at the end, and then there was a lot of questionable things with Kyle Shanahan. It was just, it felt like there was so many times during the year where we would see like Brock Purdy where Kyle would even get creative just even in details with the way Brock Purdy is rolling back, whether that's the southpaw drop back. I know y'all seen it quite a bit. It feels like Shanahan would get very creative in just, at least giving Purdy an extra tick. It felt like in this game, it was very vanilla. It was like drop back, stay there, and or else. That's just the way it felt. It felt like there wasn't a lot. It felt kind of vanilla, man. It just did. And it's like wet conditions. Why aren't you running the ball straight up the middle? I know we were all probably pounding the table for that, but regardless, and then with Brock Purdy, he almost threw the pick six, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. It wasn't. So I mean, it's just a lot, man. It was a lot. But those were and then to watch JJ step up, I think, when we were doing the awards, that was both mine and your guy Jay for the under what was it? Underestimated 49er or something like that. So to watch him step up, Debo goes out, I'm emotional in this game. I'm like, Debo, get your ass on the field. Brock did it with the torn ligament. What is up? Like, hey, this is go time, man. There might not be a tomorrow if so it was a lot, man. But we pulled it off regardless. A dub is a dub, like I started it off. But Kyle, I've seen Kyle, man, have probably the biggest growth this year that I've ever seen him have. And I felt like he kind of reverted back to old Kyle. And it was very just, God, man, it just took trust. It took trust away, man. But because we've seen this Kyle in the playoffs, and it's like, not now, man. Like, and with sideline Steve, it's like, man, let's get creative. If we're not getting home with our four guys and Ambry's having a hard time, we might need to throw some early blitzes up in there. It feels like we were kind of vanilla on both sides of the ball, but we still freaking pulled it out. So it's like it's mixed. It's a mixed bag for me.
So are you left encouraged or discouraged?
I'm still encouraged to the fullest because I feel like that's going to be our worst performance,
Yeah.
and we still pulled it off. Like
Okay.
I expect a big bounce back. I don't expect no more. And part of me felt like are you really doing this because we're playing the Packers with Steve and Kyle? It's like, are we doing this? Like, this isn't the time to be like holding back a little bit, but are we holding back a little bit to explode? I don't know. I don't know. It was kind of, but I am encouraged to the fullest because hey, when you scrape one out like this and get that kind of valuable experience, it's just gonna add. Yeah, I don't expect this to look like that again. I think we're gonna see for the 49er brand of football that got us to this point. What we seen all year. We had a hiccup with the 3 games. Yeah, we had a hiccup versus the Ravens, but when we play our brand of football, it didn't look like it looked like on Saturday. So I'm
What,
encouraged,
okay.
anticipating seeing that.
What you think, E? Encouraged or discouraged?
Fellas, I thought the Niners were going to come out clicking on all cylinders, right? Where the offense is going to be carving up the D and then our defense is going to be locked down. That's not how it went, okay? What I will say is Mother Nature is the great equalizer, okay? The rain out there, Brock obviously had a clear problem throwing the ball in that rain. So that kind of leveled the playing field. That being said, and then with the glove, fellas, when he came out with the glove, instantly that made me nervous because I'm like, the rain is in his mind. I hadn't seen him play with the glove all year. It was raining in Cleveland. I didn't see him have a glove on. So as soon as the glove was out there, I was a bit nervous. So am I encouraged or discouraged after this performance? I would say ever so slightly discouraged. I thought the Niners were going to come out clicking, kind of rout the Packers. That's not how it went. This is still a Super Bowl caliber team, and I've been saying it. I think we are going to win the Super Bowl this year, but it's hard for me to – I felt like I would be kind of lying to myself if I were to say after this Packer performance, I'm encouraged because the run defense wasn't there. You know, Kyle Shanahan, I know we're going to talk about him, but I was disappointed in some of his decisions. So ever so slightly, I'm discouraged.
Obviously, there were some concerns on Sunday, but here's why you should be encouraged. Number one, obviously, if you look at this game, we were struggling that entire game. And if you still look at it, even when we were struggling, it was still a touchdown game. It was still, we were down by a touchdown. It was 21-14. We were still in reach of like a one-score game throughout that entire game. And this was probably the worst I've seen not only our defense play this year, probably the worst I've seen Brock Purdy play this year as well. And if you look at the worst you've seen Brock Purdy play, he made the throws when it mattered. And not to mention, when Jimmy had his bad playoff games or when Jimmy had his bad games, there would be turnovers involved by him throwing interceptions. Whereas Brock Purdy, he didn't do that. Now, you could say there was a dropped interception that Darnell Savage could have caught when he had that glove on. But Jared Goff also did that literally the next day after in the red zone. He threw a dropped interception. So quarterbacks do that. It happens, right? But with Brock Purdy, even in his worst game, he still didn't turn over the football. Even in the defense's worst game, it was still a one-possession game. The ball game was in reach. So thinking of that, I would say there are certain things that even when this team was playing at its worst, they still had multiple opportunities in that game to end up coming back, if not winning that game, and they did winning the game. Now, were there things that you should be concerned about? Obviously, defense. Eric Armstead coming back, you expected that run game to be, defending the run to be a lot better, and Eric Armstead, a lot of guys struggled. Now, he is coming back from injury. You saw Sebastian Joseph Day in there in the first half. There wasn't really that much of a difference, but we were struggling stopping the run. That wasn't a great thing defensively. Ambry Thomas, bury a ball. You said it before the playoffs started. He's a little bit of a liability out there. I don't know what the Niners' other alternatives are. And one thing that you saw, especially on Saturday, was Kyle Shanahan, most of the time, even in a rookie that did play well in Jair Brown, he still decided to go with the Logan Ryan, who had that experience, who struggled on Saturday. So Ambry Thomas, most likely Niners fans, he will be playing for the remainder of the playoffs, and he will most likely, if we make it to the Super Bowl, he will be the starting cornerback in the Super Bowl, which is definitely concerning because next week he got a tough matchup in Amon-Ra St. Brown. But Ambry Thomas, I was literally screaming at my TV because it felt like every single time they would get into third and short or something like that where we had to get the Packers off the field. Ambry Thomas pass interference, Ambry Thomas penalty. And sometimes, even on that deep throw that I think Jordan Love threw it deep, Ambry Thomas was in great position. But then he ended up, not turning around, and the ref calls defensive pass interference. Like, you made the play, but then, you made a little mistake, and then that ends up costing the team. And luckily, I don't know if that ended up in a touchdown. I think that did, or ended up in a field goal. But, I mean, those little mistakes, you got to clean up Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas, the next couple of weeks, the Lions with Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Ravens and Chiefs, Chiefs or whatever, but the Ravens, they got Flowers, they got Odell Beckham, so you got tough matchups, man. So you got to, Niners, you got to figure it out, because Ambry can't be a liability, because if teams realize that, you just target him the whole time, and, that's ugly. But there were obviously things to be concerned about. Kyle Shanahan, literally, Greg Olsen said in the broadcast, Kyle Shanahan wants to run his offense. It doesn't matter what the defense is giving him. It doesn't matter if the defense is stacking the box. Kyle Shanahan wants to run his offense the way that he wants to run his offense, regardless of what the defense is giving him. That's literally what Greg Olsen said on the broadcast. Yet Kyle Shanahan, with Christian McCaffrey averaging 6.8 yards per carry, decides to literally drop back with Brock Purdy like he did with Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl. That's what it felt like. It felt like he was doing the same exact thing with Matt Ryan that he did in the Super Bowl, where he completely abandoned the run and he kept dropping back. Kyle Shanahan.
I mean, can I jump in? Because I agree with you 100%. But I was extremely nervous. The first possession the Niners had, 4 out of the 5 plays, Kyle went empty formation. Yeah. It's like we got Christian McCaffrey leading the NFL in rushing, and you're going to completely remove that threat.
Yeah.
Everybody watching, the defense, my grandma, me, you, everyone knows it's a pass play because
Yeah.
there's no running back in the
And
backfield.
Christian McCaffrey kept moving out and he kept motioning out. And like honestly, like, and you knew, like, even watching at home, you knew it was a pass play. But that's the thing that irritated me a little bit, because I'm like, Kyle, I get it late in the game if you need to do that, right? Like on that Brock Purdy game-winning drive, fine, you want to throw the ball, that's understandable. But there was moments in the third quarter, even after the Christian McCaffrey touchdown, where Kyle just kept dropping back. And I'm sorry, Kyle, I don't care if Deebo Samuel got hurt. You still have other playmakers, and you freaking have Christian McCaffrey. Like the Jawan Jennings run, it didn't upset me that it didn't work. What upset me with the Jawan Jennings run is that Jawan Jennings freaking runs a 4.71 40. Like even if it was Ray McLeod or whoever and the play got blown up, fine. I think George Kittle didn't make the block, or he got destroyed on the block. Even then, look at your personnel in that situation. You have Jawan Jennings, who runs the slowest 40, and you have Ray McLeod, who's faster. You have Danny Gray. I don't know if he was playing, but you have options that, are better suited for that play, yet you decide to use Jawan Jennings in that specific moment. I'm not upset that it didn't work. I'm upset with the fact that you decided to use the slowest dude in that instance to take Deebo's spot, who's not fast, who's not, you could say, I don't know if he's that much physical, but like, who's not Deebo. And I'm not saying any of the guys are Deebo, but there was players better suited for that play, like a Ray McLeod, that you decided to not use and decided to use Jawan Jennings. There were so many questionable decisions. So are there things that I'm concerned about, like the defense, like Kyle Shanahan's decision making? But are there things to be obviously encouraged about that? Yeah, this was still Brock Purdy's worst game. Everybody in the national media is saying it. The defense's worst game that we've seen probably this entire season, yet you were still in one possession down. I mean, to still have an opportunity to come back, in which the Niners ended up doing, to be only down one touchdown and playing your worst game, and to still come out and end up winning it. That's there's some things to be encouraged about that. And on top of that, we've also seen when this Niners team has their back against the wall, when there's people doubting them, because you look at on the national media today, all those guys are like, the Lions might give the Niners the work. The Niners, they weren't the better team. Da 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 da. As much as I don't think they played the best on Sunday, if we're really being honest, I think the Packers played better football on Saturday. If we were talking about who played better, but at the same time, it doesn't matter because whoever gets it done when it matters, and that's what the 49ers did. But when this team has its back against the wall, or when people are talking bad about them, or when there is doubt, the Niners 99% of the time come back and they answer our doubts or our question marks in a dominant way. You saw that in the bye week coming out against the Jaguars after that 3-game losing streak. So we've seen it this year. We've seen it last couple of years with Kyle Shanahan. So there are things to be encouraged about, but there obviously are a fair share of concerns as well.
So it sounds like you're cautiously encouraged. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Hey, man. Hey, well said by all of you gentlemen. I gotta say, what's good? We got some more people that's in the chat. We got Niner Sickness just checked in. Bryant Culp is in the building. We got Bebop Jones. We got Kudo. We have Pule, SF 49ers, also a Lakers fan. We got Mick in the building. Don, Sacrifice TV Gaming. Appreciate everyone tuning into the stream. If you're excited about the Niners going to the NFC Championship game, make sure you hit that thumbs up button on whatever channel you're watching. Also, JR Meadows just checked in, and we also have HR. I would say there were definitely some things that were discouraging about the 49ers performance. It's our home field, Levi Stadium, and we can't get our footing right. There were several plays on defense where guys just fell down. Receivers were running wide open. That shouldn't happen in your home stadium. That was something that was discouraging. We also allowed a 100-yard rusher to Aaron Jones. That was discouraging. But there were also other parts of the game that I liked. We were able to slow down the Packers. Like I've been saying it all year, this defense is a bend but don't break. We'll allow you to get some yards. We'll allow you to go down the field. But usually we stop teams from scoring. And that's what we did in the first half, only allowing the Packers to get 2 field goals. So I think that was a huge plus. The defense kept us in the game. If the Packers would have scored 2 touchdowns, I think, this game could have had a different outcome. Also, we were able to get this comeback win without Deebo Samuel. I think that was a huge plus. Hopefully he can play next week. And the 49ers capitalized on the Packers' mistakes. Dre Greenlaw getting those 2 picks were huge. And also there were timely stops on third down by, let's say, Nick Bosa rushing Jordan Love, and Jordan Love having to force a throw that he didn't want to throw at that time. Javon Hargrave had a huge one. I think it was in the goal line where he just did a swim move past the blocker. I think it was a guard. And and that was honestly
How about that fourth down too,
that was the
Jay?
biggest play. That was
Yeah.
that was
Greenlaw?
yeah.
Greenlaw? Yeah.
The one I'm talking about was Hargrave, where I think it was 3rd and 9. It might have been in the goal line. It was in the first half. And I'm not sure if that was either the Packers' first or second field goal attempt, but Hargrave made a hell of a play. Honestly, that was the biggest play or best play I saw from him. But I would say overall, I'm encouraged. We got the dub. Shanahan is now 1-31 when his team trails the fourth quarter. So I think that's huge. And this is also the 4th time in the last 5 years that the 49ers are in the NFC Championship. So definitely not a perfect performance, not at all. But, we did some good things, but we definitely have room to improve. And as E mentioned earlier, I think the weather did play a part in the game. I mean, Jordan Love was missing throws as well. We saw Brock Purdy, I think, in the middle of his drop back, try to dry his hand off. We don't want to blame the weather, but it's part of the game. Both teams have to, play with it. But, it did affect the game. I think it did.
And it's something Brock's going to have to work on.
Yeah.
Brock, he's got to learn to throw the ball, when it's wet, because this ain't going to be the last rain game he's going to get in his career. So that's something he's going to have to figure out.
And it was discouraging to see when the glove came off later on. Like I seen a couple of throws where it looked like the ball was sticking to his hand, where it wasn't coming off the way he wanted, and that's why you seen some of those incompletions. That they show the replay, and I'm like, it's almost too much grip now. It's just like, I don't know if you could learn that one, man. But hopefully they could try to figure something out, because more rain games will be coming, and typically it's going to be playoff time.
Facts.
You're muted, Jay.
My bad. Looks like we got a super chat. Hot diggity dog. Not sure what channel this is on, but somebody is $20 richer. HR says everybody is coming to the East Bay Ballers crib this Sunday. Give me your favorite food choices at a game day party. Hey, for me, it's pizza. Easy option. What about you, Amin? What's your favorite?
Some nachos, throwing some wings, some buffalo wings with some ranch,
Hey.
But yeah, probably those 2.
I mean, y'all just said it all, man. I might as well try to take it up a step and say some tri-tips. Get the barbecue going in the wintertime. Why the hell not?
Ooh, I like all that. What I'm gonna add are the dips. I like a guacamole. Give me a sour cream and onion. And hey, with what you guys brought, that's a fiesta.
Hey, absolutely. Appreciate that super chat. Always appreciate it. Let's get into the head coach. We got to talk about Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, he's going to be heavily criticized based on the team's performance, his play calling, not running the ball as much as we should, as much as we think he should. His clock management at the end of the first half. Who wants to tackle that right away? The clock management, just to set it up, we forced a punt, I believe, we forced a punt. We get the ball back, and we have the ball with 4 minutes to go until halftime. So who's really passionate about that? Go for it. What are your thoughts on Shanahan?
You get the ball with 4 minutes left before half. That is plenty of time. Shanahan ran the hell out of that clock. He ran way too much time off the clock. You couldn't even get your rookie kicker to like a manageable field goal. Not only that, it's like Shanahan was playing for a field goal. How about you had plenty of time to go get a touchdown? So I it was so it was weak. It
It's
was
like we had Jimmy. It's like we had Jimmy all over again. That's what it. But not because of Brock. It's like all the trust that he put into Brock during the year. It's like that's why I said it felt like we got old Kyle again. Start double thinking, a lukewarm, just and I just want to touch rope because that clock management and his thing was well on the second play before the half. I did have a play designed for a uke, but it just wasn't there or something like that. It's like bullshit, man. It's like, come on, man. It's like it was slow. We don't even have a 2-minute offense. I don't think they practice it. We never see no hurry up. It's the set. It's like, dude, you said you were scheming up the game plan in the second quarter of the Dallas game. You had what? How many days more to prepare for freaking the optimal game plan, no matter who the opponent is? You know it's gonna rain. You have all this time to cook. I'm over here thinking like, oh man, Shanahan, he's done stepped his game up this year when we got time to cook, watch out, and then to run it with JJ coming out of halftime. My other thing about that run was we're already down Debo. So let's just experiment with JJ and do something we've never done with JJ before. And when you run something like that, I mean, you could get hurt on any play, but a wide receiver got more of a chance to get hurt running something he's never run before with the D tackles and defensive linemen coming right there to hunt you down instead of being in space. Man, could you man, I don't know, man. It was a lot of it was weird.
And what made it even more frustrating, Kelch, is we've seen Shanahan do this before. It's like, what about learning from your mistakes, right? It felt like he was replicating the Super Bowl against the Chiefs before half, right? Where it's just he mismanages the time, and then you don't leave yourself enough time for this offense to actually go out and get points. So that was definitely frustrating.
And then the empty sets, just to go back, because I wanted to piggyback off a few of you guys. I didn't want to cut anybody off, but the empty sets, not only are you declaring we ain't running, you're also declaring Brock Purdy has minimal freaking protection. You know what I'm saying? It's like the last game we lost was because of him being hurt. It's just I can't believe we came out with the win. And man, it's just like the arrogance or the lack, just something, just everything we used to talk about in the past it feels like it was kind of gone this year. And it's like, how did that come up with this amount of time to prepare at home, like Jay said? Just all of it from the cleats to experimenting, gloves, JJ, just a lot of it. Logan Ryan, he said, I'm not going to play Jair because I didn't want to do that to him. It sounded like he said, I know he's better, but I didn't want to put Jair in that position. Well, when
it
I
was
watched,
a mistake. It looked like a mistake to me.
it sounds like sorry ass excuses to me. Hearing him say that reminded me of the answer. Well, don't you watch Josh Allen run? Don't you watch the Bills? It just felt like arrogant Kyle again, man.
I think he wanted to go with the veteran. I think what he saw from Jair Brown, he wasn't impressed with before. It was either his decision or it was sideline Steve, but I think he wanted to go with the veteran. Obviously, that wasn't the right move, though.
Yeah, my thing is, we bring in a veteran, we bring in this vet, right? But he hasn't been integrated to the team. We don't even truly know Logan Ryan, right? Like, yeah, he did what he did in the past. I mean, it's hard to trust. They don't really know this guy. And one of the thing that John Lynch loved about Isaiah Oliver, yes, he gets burnt, but that man would run through tackles. That man would give his all to tackle. When I seen him completely not just whiff, because if you whiff, hey, you could get burnt by somebody, but it looked like he moved up out the way. I don't know if you guys seen the all 22 of him just almost like he was scared or he didn't want to run.
Talking about Logan Ryan on Aaron Jones?
Yeah, man, I believe so. And it was just all I could think of. Jair Brown would have gave his whole heart and soul for that tackle. And that's the Niner way. They want you to run through people. And just watching that was just
Is that an indictment on Jair Brown, a guy that you drafted the first pick of your draft this year, and he's been with you all these months in camp, preseason. You've seen him all year, and yet you kind of throw him to the curve to pick up a guy who's been on his couch, the entire year up
well,
until 3 weeks ago.
you got to have
Not-
somebody else, right? But I think this is
Right.
all just. I don't think it's an indictment on Jair. I think it's Kyle Shanahan was maybe had way too much time to think on
Mm.
all this stuff because we seen it. We seen it in the game. There
Right.
was multiple times where he did where he was thinking too much, with the clock management, with the JJ, with the Logan Bryan, with the whether
He
he
got
was
tight. A great philosopher once said Shanahan got lemon booty. Shout out to Guru on 95.7 The Game. That's what he loves to say. He got lemon
yeah,
booty. Hey,
real talk.
a lot of 49er fans in here tonight, especially Blue True. Hot diggity dog. Appreciate that super sticker, Blue True. Thank you for watching and liking the stream. Amin the Dream, what were your thoughts on Kyle's decision making in this game?
Like that, I would say, like the average coach once said, "You play to win the game.
Hello.
You play to win the game." Kyle Shanahan, let's think about this. You have 4 minutes left with 3 timeouts. I hope you know by coaching how many seasons you've coached in the league that those 3 timeouts don't go to the second half. Those 3 timeouts are for 2 quarters, and you get 3 timeouts for another 2 quarters. You literally are at like the 50-yard line with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Last week, I would say you lost the game because of Jake Moody, because he missed multiple kicks, a PAT, and he missed the field goal in a game that you probably could have won against the Rams, which was a meaningless game. Doesn't matter. But you put the ball back in his hands. You don't use the timeouts. Kyle, I don't think Kyle, he overthinks. And what Kyle's decision making in that moment was probably, I don't want to give the ball back to the Packers. Kyle, when there's 1 minute left or 50 seconds left, Jordan Love isn't throwing it 30 yards down the field and trying to score a touchdown. What is he probably going to do? He might throw 1 or 2 passes, maybe incompletions, maybe completions, or they kneel it out. At probably the most likely scenario, they kneel it out with 50 seconds left. Kyle Shanahan, there was an interview that came out with Kyle Shanahan where someone literally asked Kyle Shanahan, "Hey Kyle, why don't you throw Hail Marys and try to score a touchdown at the end of halves?" And he said, "Because if my quarterback throws a Hail Mary and ends up an interception, I don't want to ruin his confidence." Don't you think a guy like Matt LaFleur or someone else like that, like a coach in the league, probably has some sort of a similar mentality as you, especially in a playoff game? Like, he doesn't want to throw a pick. With 50 seconds left, Kyle, instead of being aggressive and trying to win, you played conservative and you said, "I don't want to give the ball back to the Packers." That was probably a thought process there. I could be wrong, but that's not how you coach, Kyle. That's not. And these are the moments where it matters. If you pull that crap in a regular season game and you end up losing, you still live another week. But if we're being honest, if we lost this week, Kyle made multiple questionable decisions. Running empty sets offensively. Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown. You literally had maybe a 5-play drive where Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown, and then you continued with empty sets, drive after drive after drive. What is that thought process? I don't get it. That's literally what you did in Atlanta to lose the Super Bowl. And what irritates me more is not the fact that you make the mistake, because mistakes are cool because you have an opportunity to learn from them. But when you hear Kyle Shanahan in press conferences, even after the game, there's guys asking him, "Did your game plan change with Deebo Samuel?" He never, the thing about Kyle is that he never accepts and acknowledges his mistake, right? So, even if they ask him about whether that might be, you had 3 timeouts left, why weren't you being aggressive? "Oh, we just felt like it was the best scenario. We did the best." It's never, "You know what? I effed up in this scenario. I admit that I was wrong in this scenario. We got to do something better. We got to make an adjustment." It's literally the same exact thing. It is never him holding himself accountable. And that's the thing. Now, I know it's a little bit of a sidetrack, but that's also one of the reasons why I think Adam Peters left. Because I think Adam Peters left because he knew with Kyle Shanahan that he wouldn't have as much control, even if they gave him the general manager position, that he wouldn't have as much control as he has in Washington. And that's probably one of the reasons why he left. I'm not saying that is the main reason, but that might be one of the reasons why he did end up leaving, right? But Kyle Shanahan, the decision making, especially in the playoffs, running empty sets, not playing to win and putting a touchdown on the board, a potential touchdown on the board with 3 timeouts left, playing not to give the Packers the ball back. There's multiple questionable decisions from Kyle Shanahan. The Jawan Jennings run. Kyle, we call you an offensive genius, but nobody in the right mind, nobody on this panel would start a drive on 1st and 10 and say, Jawan Jennings, Debo got hurt, we gonna use Jawan Jennings on the play.
Coming out of halftime?
Coming out of halftime and to set,
I thought they script the first 5-7 plays coming out of half.
Kyle Shanahan pulled
in the script.
Kyle Shanahan pulled a Max Kellerman. Game on the line. Who you want shooting the ball, Curry or Iguodala? And he said Iguodala. He said Iguodala. The rookie thing also. Kyle, Ambry Thomas, you played him as a rookie. He sucked as a rookie. Jair Brown, for the most part, he looks fine in the games that he played. It wasn't that bad of a downgrade. So, I really don't understand Kyle Shanahan's philosophy with, the way that he plays these rookies. Ambry Thomas, his rookie year, I'm not going to lie, he was doo-doo. For, most of the time. He was doo-doo, straight doo-doo. Yet you decided to keep him out there. And who did they bench rookie year? De'Amado Lenore, because he made a mistake against the Packers. Look at De'Amado Lenore right now. He's the second best cornerback in the league. Not in our league, and the second best cornerback on our team. Right? So, Kyle, you just got to go out and trust guys. I understand the rookies, but, it's kind of this funny thing with the Bay Area coaches where Steve Kerr doesn't trust Kuminga to go out there or Moody to go out there, and then Kyle Shanahan doesn't trust his young guys, no matter how much the young guys are going out there and doing their thing, or even if they are playing well. It's just this thing with Kyle Shanahan and also Steve Kerr where, I don't care if Kuminga drops 20 in 15 minutes. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I want Dario Saric to come in and play minutes for me. It doesn't make sense no matter, even if that rookie is playing better, you just got to go out there and trust your rookies. Jair Brown played well in the games that he did play. It wasn't an upgrade over Hufanga, but it wasn't that much of a downgrade where it was, noticeable that Jair Brown is struggling that much. He played well. Logan Ryan, that tackle on Aaron Jones was a whiff. He, literally just went in there low effort. I don't know what the hell that was. That was garbage effort.
It was a bad angle.
But that's the thing, Kyle, that's where you gotta trust your rookies in those instances. You trust Ambry Thomas to be out there, right? So if you trust Ambry Thomas to be out there and he struck, literally, you had 2 drives that your defense could have gone off the field, yet they were still on the field, and the Packers still lived to see another down because of Ambry Thomas. 2 drives, at least 2 drives, where with a guy like Jair Brown, who's had interceptions on this team, who's made tackles, who's done his thing, you decide not to play him over Logan Ryan? It doesn't make sense, Kyle. That's the thing. I don't care how much of an offensive genius Kyle Shanahan is. I don't care about his regular season percentage. I don't care about even his playoff record. I don't care, because what matters is obviously decision making, number one, but can you get it done? It doesn't mean literally Michael Jordan and that Bulls team, they had a shirt after going 72-10. It doesn't mean a thing without the ring. And this team, with how good it's been, with how much talent we have, with how many times we've fallen short, this year you don't have the excuse with quarterback Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy's not Jimmy Garoppolo. He literally led the league with number ones in most of the categories. He led the league. He was the best at multiple categories. You don't have Jimmy Garoppolo. And I understand, because you trust Brock Purdy, you're throwing the ball with him more. But you have Christian McCaffrey. You've been using him all freaking season. And we were talking about, Kyle, lessen the carries with CMC, man. We need him for the playoffs. Give Elijah Mitchell some touches in the regular season. We can't have CMC getting hurt. Yet in the playoffs, you decide to completely abandon CMC and say, Brock Purdy, go out and beat Tom Brady and throw 40 passes a game and win us this game. Or go out and beat Mahomes and win us this game. It doesn't make sense, Kyle Shanahan. Do better. Do better.
And he wasn't even being creative when he was doing all those passes. There was nothing working off of nothing. It was like the pass wasn't helping to run, and
That's the thing,
you know,
Kels. That's the
hey,
thing.
we're supposed to be. It's in the rain. You run. You set up the play action. Like I mean, you laid it down. I mean, so hey, hit it up, Jay.
Hey, well said. Well said. I would say, CMC, he did get, I think he got 24 touches, I believe. 24 touches, including catches. So, I mean, yeah, it's the playoffs. Should we add to his workload 6 to 10 more touches? Hey, I'm down for it. Or at least bring in an Elijah Mitchell, a few running plays. But you guys said everything that I had. I wanted to add on that the clock management thing to end the first half. There was one play where they allowed the clock to go all the way down before the play clock hit 0. They had to call a timeout. Like, it's almost as if we were up, 21-0, and we're just trying to drain the clock to get to the half. I just didn't understand that. And you don't necessarily have to go hurry up, but you could say, hey, why don't we call 2 plays and we'll huddle up? You do the first play, no matter what happens. You don't necessarily have to huddle up again. You already know the second play. Just go straight to the line of scrimmage. Just I don't know. Just there's no sense of urgency. The only time we've seen really a no huddle offense is with Sam Darnold. Like, I don't understand it. So Brock can't do the same thing. Like, I don't get that. And it's to me, it's super simple. I mean, we all play Madden. Like, it's simple. You don't want the team to get the ball before half, right? You want to limit their seconds, but you also want to put yourself in position to at least get a manageable field goal. And 48 yards, yeah, that's manageable, but you could have gotten it a lot closer. You wasted 40 seconds on one play. Like, so we've seen it from Shanahan. Unfortunately, it's just something that is expected. He doesn't manage it well. I don't know if he needs to hire someone else to say, hey, obviously we want to use a lot of this time, but we need to at least, get in and out of the huddle. We don't have to wait. We're not chewing the clock. We're not trying to wait 8 seconds on the play clock to run a play. Like, what are we doing? So that it's frustrating to watch. And also, how about trust your defense? You got Bosa, you got Warner, you got Greenlaw. You think they're going to give up a 90-yard drive with 30 seconds left before halftime? Like, I don't know. It's
And Jay, like, what do we do in Madden when, like, at least when I play Madden against dudes online? Like, if I score a touchdown before half, freaking play event, right? Like, an event, like, the team is not that desperate at the end of the second quarter.
Right.
You want to go down and score a touchdown. You still have another half. But
Right.
instead, Kyle Shanahan played in that mindset. He was like, I'm not trying to give the ball back to the other team. You play to win the game, Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Like, that's what I love about Dan Campbell. And as much as would I rather have Kyle Shanahan or Dan Campbell, I would choose Kyle Shanahan any day of the week. But at the same time, one thing that Dan Campbell does have is that he's willing to take those risks, right? He doesn't care. He's willing to roll the dice on certain occasions. And is that, like, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to, right? But, like, he does got that, right? So he's willing to roll the dice. Is it going to work all the time? No. But at the same time, Kyle, you got to roll the dice sometimes. And especially with the rookie kicker. And that's the funny thing is that, like, with Jimmy G, like, if you had Jimmy Garoppolo, you try to take the ball out of his hands. With Jake Moody, he hasn't been, like, I'm not saying he's been awful this year, but he also hasn't been great. Would I trust Brock Purdy in that offense to go out and put out points in the second half, or do I trust Jake Moody to make a 48-yard field goal with wind and rain? Especially looking at the circumstance with 3 timeouts, 130 at the 50-yard line. Like, Kyle, do better, please. This is when it matters. I don't care about the regular season. This team is too good, and this year you seriously don't have excuses. There's no Jimmy Garoppolo on this team. There's no player that you could say, you know what, that's holding you back, Kyle Shanahan, because you had a Jimmy Garoppolo, because you had this, or because you had that. The circumstances are all in your favor. For the most part, the circumstances are all in your favor. You have to go out there as the head coach. And offensively, what was that offensively? Besides the empty sets, it just felt dull. Like, I've seen better game plans with Jimmy Garoppolo and more creative game plans with literally not even Jimmy just handing the ball off to Jimmy. Jimmy throwing the ball that Saints game, that's Kyle Shanahan in his bag. That's what I expect Kyle Shanahan. If you're preparing since the second quarter, I expect you to have Saints game type, some sort of type material like that 2019 Saints game where you had pitches to Mostert and he would throw for touchdowns, or you had this creativity where you would scheme guys open. That people say Kyle Shanahan schemes guys open. Like Kyle Shanahan, it's just been dull. It was really dull offensively. It literally reminded me of that Falcons Super Bowl. What you did in that
Hey, hey, in defense of Shanahan a little bit, I mean, let's be real. Purdy was off. This was one of his worst games that I've seen in a red and gold uniform. I would say like the first 3 quarters.
But then
He hit
why
some
continue
throws.
to throw it then, Jay? Why continue to throw it instead of using Christian McCaffrey, who we've
Right,
been saying keep him healthy for the playoffs? This is literally the
right,
best time to use him because this is when it matters.
right. No, that's fair. So obviously CMC had that long run of 39 yards, right? He had the 2 touchdowns. If you take that away, I believe he had what? I think he had 16 carries on like 50 yards. So it's averaging. That's still but 3.5 yards per carry. So
And they
it's
were
not
tough,
terrible, but
and
the
they were tough
Packers
yards.
defense was doing exactly. They were tough yards.
Yeah.
Packers defense came to play. Like it wasn't like every time CMC got the ball, he was just ripping off 10, 12 yards. That's what it felt like Aaron Jones was doing. Honestly, like he had holes that were open and he was making guys miss. But hey, you can't really defend not giving the offensive player of the year a MVP type guy in CMC enough carries. Like it's kind of hard to defend not doing that, but fair points all around. Definitely Kyle Shanahan deserves some blame. He did say at the end of the game that the players didn't play their best. He didn't coach his best. So maybe this was something we needed. Was it rust? Was it weather? I think everything played a factor. And hey, the Packers came to play. I mean, they were one of the hottest teams in the NFL in the second half. I mean, they beat the brakes off them good old Cowboys. I guess that's not really an accomplishment. I mean, but they beat the Cowboys at home, and I think the Cowboys were undefeated all year at home, and I think they were blowing teams out at home, by double digits. But the Packers came to play. They got young talent on both sides of the ball, and they're going to be, a good team in the future for sure. Well, in the present and in the future. So they hit on a lot of draft picks as well. Yeah,
You made me remember about last week. I think you said something like, can't remember your score prediction, but I know you said something like close game and something about them having a couple turnovers. I think that's what you said. They're going to have a turnover or two, and we're not going to
yeah,
have none. I know that's one of the major keys of the game is
yeah.
turnovers, but it just like hit my head of what you were saying last week, and you were on point, man.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I think. Well, we'll get to the next game we play, but I think it's going to be similar. It's going to be another, it's going to be another game for sure. That's going to be tight. We got to talk about some of the guys that really stood out. We'll start off on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, there were some, Debo wasn't available, so some guys had to step up. Some guys had to help Brock Purdy out. So let's start off with that. Let's start off with Amin the Dream. Who was the guy that stood out to you on the offensive side of the ball? Without their performance, we may have not won that game. Who's a player that stands out to you, Amin?
Easily Jawan Jennings, right? Like 5 for 6. I think he had like 60 something yards. It felt like he converted 4 third downs. He caught 4 third downs, and we ended up converting and live to see another day and another down. But Jawan Jennings would probably be the MVP of the offense. Purdy didn't have a great game. Christian McCaffrey was obviously great. You could say he was another MVP, but Jawan Jennings on crucial downs, on third downs, to give the offense another play and another down. Jawan Jennings, if he didn't make those catches and he didn't step up in the way that he did, I don't know if the Niners would have won this game. So Jawan Jennings, he deserves some props. Props to Jawan Jennings for what he did on Saturday.
Absolutely, he was incredible, and his blocking too, incredible. Yeah, absolutely. and Jawan's going to be a free agent this year, so hopefully we can keep him. Yeah, but we'll see. He's definitely earned that next contract. And what you think, E? Who stood out to you on offense?
Yeah, I got to piggyback off of Amin because Jawan Jennings was freaking awesome. Not only did he have 4 clutch catches, well, he had 5, but 4 of them were for first downs. but he was getting hit like as soon as he was catching these balls. Like they were catches in traffic, like they weren't gimmies, is what I'm saying. Jawan was going out and making the tough catches, which we've become so accustomed to doing. And I hope he sticks around, but I have a feeling he might get priced out kind of similarly to what happened to Kendrick Bourne, but let's not. I don't want to go there yet. Jawan's ours right now, so shout out to Jawan. But next up, I gotta say what's up to George Kittle. I thought Kittle was freaking awesome. We know the touchdown he had where he ran right by Darnell Savage. Let's not forget, man, Kittle's got some speed to him. So I'm glad to see him kind of flash that and say, hey, I still got that in my repertoire. Let me run. Darnell Savage is a good DB, but Kittle ran right by him. Nice play by Brock rolling out and finding him. But, Kittle had a number of catches. He's always physical when he gets it. He's almost – when he catches it, it's almost like he's looking for contact sometimes. He's looking for someone to run over. So Kittle was awesome. And then – I'll shout out. I thought Jake Brendel had a good game. He was my most underrated Niner when we did our awards show last week. And I thought it was a good game from Brendel. Trent, normally when you notice O-line, it's when they're screwing up. But Brendel and Trent, I thought were really good yesterday.
Yeah, two great picks. Jawan, of course, third and Jawan. And how about that throw by freaking Purdy on one of those? I think it was third. Ah, man, what drive was that? I don't know what drive, but y'all know the throw I'm talking about, where it was just right out of the reach. It reminded me of one of the throws versus Dallas earlier in the season, where just it's a game of inches, sometimes. But I see a couple of people, and I was almost upset they mentioned it. I thought I was going to be the only one to mention it, but we see Shay over here and Load the Truth out here, my man. And, I was rooting for him hard in training camp. And I thought by this time, sorry, my man, found out he's family by marriage, but Chris freaking Conley, man, sorry, man. I didn't know if you would still be a Niner at this point, but you showed up in a major way, not because of you, my bro. But, Shanahan does what he does sometimes with guys who we might view as talented. So shout out to him. He made a great catch at a pivotal point of the game. And, big props. He stepped up. I do want to mention the comment by Bruce R. I thought that was an interesting take he had on, when something happens to Debo, why not slide, Mitchell in there and put CMC in Debo's spot? And, I guess it's basically Mitchell for Jawan Jennings, but, I'm sure in some of those packages when you do have Ray out there or, the next wide receiver, Chris Conley or whatever, then that's when you slip. I just thought it was interesting. It was a good.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, just that idea. So I ain't never thought of that one. We'll see. Hopefully we got Debo, but big props to Chris Conley. Yeah, he showed up big time, even if it was just one catch for 17 yards. It mattered. That was the game-winning drive right there. So big shout out to him.
No, absolutely. I mean, CMC, I thought he had a pretty good performance. He put 2 touchdowns on the board. Those were much needed touchdowns. I mean, every point counts. I'm going to say, in addition to the guys you mentioned, I thought Brock played under the conditions, in the rain. I thought the offensive line was shaky at times. It felt like he was getting throws off, but he wasn't able to really put his all into the throw because there was a lineman in his face. So I think that added to him being inaccurate. But when we needed that last drive, he delivered. I believe he was 6 of 7 on the last drive. And when we needed him to play his best, he delivered. And this is what people wanted to see. We've even said it on our own show. Hey, sometimes the 49ers can be front runners. We play well with the lead, but how do we play from behind? And, we were basically down an entire fourth quarter. So I just want to say kudos to Brock. I thought he played well. And, how do you face adversity? And I thought he did pretty well in that and leading us in that last drive, especially doing it without Debo. And we know Kyle's game plan, and he didn't really involve CMC on the ground as much as we all think. But I give kudos to Brock and leading us in that last drive. Did anyone else have any other standouts they want to mention? Any honorable mentions?
Man, I thought Brock was gonna run that thing in. When I seen him, man, I thought he was taking it. But that run, I think, is a hella
Well, I gotta mention one more.
underrated play. Like that, or just that, man. It was man,
It
just
was
hella
huge.
proud.
It
Hella
was
proud
huge.
of hella proud of that whole drive. That was the only knock on Kittle was that drop. He tried to turn and he was obviously hella mad. You know what I'm saying? But just we could sit here and nitpick. Hey, you know what? Brock Purdy weathered the storm. You know what I'm saying? With everything against him, it was Brock versus Kyle, Brock versus the rain, Brock versus freaking who is it? Colin Coward and Nick Wrong and freaking Ryan Clark. It was Brock Purdy against the world, Tupac status, and hey, he weathered the storm, man, and he got it done. That's typically what you hear the when people talk about the greatest of great quarterbacks is, oh man, he sucked for 3.5 quarters, but in crunch time, in go time, he did what he had to do, and he came through and won the game. And I don't care about nitpicking how it looked. When this guy did it, he had one more completion, and one of his throws went. I don't care about none of that, man. He led a game-winning drive. And then people also talk about the comeback. Well, they had the field goal already set up, so it wasn't a true comeback. Just all those kind of narratives. It's like, we got it done. You know what I'm saying? So, big props to Brock.
I think BA deserves some love also because he had that one throw where Purdy he underthrew it and he made a freaking phenomenal catch. Even on that third down on the last drive, it was a great throw by Purdy, but it was kind of low. Ayuk had to dive for it on the ground, middle of the field to make that catch. So Ayuk, even though he didn't get targeted a lot, just like Brock Purdy, when you needed him to make a play, he, game on the line, buzzer beater. He came up and he made the shot for the buzzer beater multiple times on numerous occasions. That low ball that he caught, I think that was also on the third down, where it was almost hitting the ground, and I just comes up and he snags it almost off the floor.
That's why it means a legend. That's why it means a
BA.
legend, because BA absolutely needed some love. That being said, this is going back to Kyle, but when Debo goes out, isn't it like, hey, it's time to feed Ayuk? But apparently that doesn't go through Kyle's head, but BA absolutely.
He's still in the doghouse, like in the playoffs. Ayuk is in the doghouse. He only got 3 targets or something.
The dude's all pro. Let's get him to rock, especially when Debo goes out. But I love how you brought that up, because especially that catch with Keyshawn Nixon draped all over him, that's not an easy catch, and it was absolutely clutch.
Man, what's up with the creativity? I'm talking to creativity. You're doing all these things with Brock in the pocket, even if it's subtle, creative stuff. What's up with the routes of Brandon Ayuk? Is it just he goes up and crosses to the middle now? He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. Utilize it. Utilize the whips, all that stuff, man. He's shaking bacon, folks. And I don't know. Maybe I got to go watch the All 22 again or whatever. But it's kind of dawning on me now. Man, it seemed kind of vanilla. Utilize the skill of the player to the fullest. Hop up out of your system sometimes, and whatever it is, this will really trick him. I'm gonna come out firing in the rain. Who cares about none of that, man? Hey, do what got you there. Do what got you there, and get it done, son.
No, absolutely. And Brock made some throws where only his receiver could get the ball. I think Kelts mentioned earlier, the high throw to Jennings, where he high pointed the ball. A lot of clutch plays on third down that were executed by Brock. And you mentioned the shoestring tackle by Ayuk, great plays that extended the drive. And Chris Conley, as Kelts mentioned, man, that play that no one really expected him to. I wouldn't say we didn't expect him to make, but for him to be in that position, and he was able to catch the ball, secure it, get out of bounds. That was a huge play. So, shouts out to those guys that stepped up when Debo was absent. Because let's be honest, they're saying Debo I didn't even mention it, but Debo. So the news that came out today was there's no fracture with his shoulder, but we know he did have the shoulder injury earlier on in the season. But there's no fracture, no tear, no nothing. It's just, I guess, a pain tolerance thing at this point. So
I did want to snitch real quick on Jim Everett the Great and let the chat
mhm,
know
mhm.
that I think he was wishing injury on CMC in
Wow.
another chat, and I just wanted to let everybody know that he did say that earlier in the day. What
Man,
up?
that's crazy.
Uh, yeah, almost, yeah, but hey, to each their own. Have at 'em, chat.
Yeah. Oh, he's in here now? Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Have have at 'em, chat.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, so let's go to the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the defense. I thought the defense played good enough. Got some great stops to prevent them from scoring in the first half, which I thought was key. There were some great performances, and I'll let you guys have at it, man. Let's start off with Celts Chronicles. Who was your defensive player of the game? Hey, there's a lot of players you could choose, I'm sure. Who
hey,
you got, Celts?
hey, I've been wrong a lot of times this year on score predictions. I've been wrong a lot of times this year, but I did make one bold prediction on Twitter. I said something along the lines like, it's going to be the CMC and Trent and Debo are going to stand out, but Dre Greenlaw is going to finally get his interception,
Uh,
and Eric Armstead is going to be rubbing his belly. Well, majority of those things didn't happen, but Dre Greenlaw didn't get his one interception, but he got freaking two, and that damn near saved our. Hey, it did save our season, because if he don't come up with those two balls, who knows what could have happened. And I do want to point back out the three drives that you mentioned earlier, Jay and the Bay, when they had the three drives in the red zone. That, hey, man, to come away with that with 6 points was freaking massive. I mean, the way they were moving, I mean, 21 could have been an easy thing, and for it to be 6 instead of 21, I mean, incredible. Bend don't break. That kept us. Those 2 turnovers were the key of the game and the game-winning drive, but big props to, Dre Greenlaw, man. Get down. Get down, Dre. Get down, Dre.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna take a victory lap, and it's regarding Diamador Lenore. For years, I had been trying to tell people, mostly on Twitter, that Diamador Lenore profiles as a slot corner. He loves to be physical. He loves to hit people. PFF graded him in his college days at Oregon, like his run stuffing grade was off the charts. And that's what first put me on, like, okay, this guy plays the run really well. And then I watched like a highlight video of Demo at Oregon, and he's just laying dudes out. And I'm like, this is a corner who's like 5'10", who hits like this. And it was an absolute coming out party for Demo. He had a few plays that just absolutely popped off on tape, starting with, shoving Jordan Love out of bounds, making him fly about 10 feet out of bounds. Then he blew up a screen pass. He read a wide receiver screen so quickly that he popped the wide receiver in the backfield. It was a great play. Just Diamador Lenore had several plays that just got me out of my chair and
Yeah.
just flexing at the
Is that
TV.
the one where he went through like 2 people, or like that was
Yes,
like, right?
they're
Oh,
trying to
man.
block him. Yeah, they
Oh,
were
man.
trying to
Oh,
block
yeah.
him.
Hey, I hopped
Just
up. Yeah. Yeah, I hopped up on that one for sure. Yep.
yeah. So I got to shout out Demo. He was freaking awesome. This dude loves to hit people. He's ultra physical. The Niners have found their nickel for the next 5 years, like at least. Demo ain't going nowhere. I want him as my nickel corner. Other guy, I see Nick Bosa taking some flack, and I don't agree with it. I thought Nick Bosa was actually really good in this game. I know he didn't have a sack, but I saw him multiple times pressuring Jordan Love, collapsing the pocket. He had multiple QB hits on Jordan Love. So I don't know where kind of the Nick Bosa slander is coming from. I think it's just because he's so highly paid and There's a 0 in the sack department, but I'm gonna
This
say
is
shout out Nick Bosa.
this is a fourth consecutive game. Nick Bosa does not have a sack in a playoff game.
Uh,
Should we
I
be
mean,
concerned as 49er fans?
no, I just watched the game, and to me, no, because he was all over Jordan Love. There was one play where he ran a spin move on that right tackle, and the dude didn't even block him. Like, he was pressuring the quarterback in less than a second. It just so happened that Jordan Love got the ball out like right as he was coming. Like, Nick Bosa is making plays now. They're not showing up on the stat sheet, but the impact is being felt, especially by these opposing quarterbacks. So Nick Bosa was really good. Last guy I'm going to touch on just real quick was Mooney Ward. I thought Mooney Ward, I know he slipped and kind of gave up the big play, but besides that, he had a terrific pass breakup in the end zone on Romeo Dobbs early in that game where, if Dobbs catches that ball, we might not be here talking. Well, we'd probably still be here talking, but not quite as happily.
What say you, Amin the Dream? Was there a defensive player that stood out to you? Kelch mentioned Dre Greenlaw. Bay Area Baller mentioned Demo Lenore and Bosa. Was there any other guys that stood out to you?
Chase Young stood out to me. But it wasn't necessarily in a positive light.
Oh,
Chase Young, man, like, it just seems low effort, and like the reports that coming out of Washington was like he's undisciplined a little bit, he's a little bit lazy. And watching Chase Young the last couple of weeks, we had the expectation that this was like the in-season trade where he would have the Emmanuel Sanders effect. And so far, forget about the Emmanuel Sanders effect. He hasn't done anything realistically. Like, even the sacks that he's gotten on this team, had like the one sack that I remember against the Bucks. It was like fourth quarter, 1 minute left. Chase Young gets a sack in a meaningless game that we already won with 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. It's just low effort from Chase Young. I expect more from Chase Young, and honestly speaking, dude, Chase Young's not coming back next year unless you maybe get him for 1 year, 2 year cheap. I don't want Chase Young back on this team because the effort that he puts in is just not there the last couple of weeks. Yes, can he make plays here and there? I expect him to make plays here and there. Like, you were drafted a second overall pick. I expect you to at least, try. Even if you don't put up necessarily a sack a game or get, Nick Bosa pressures, I expect you to at least put in some sort of effort. But watching Chase Young on certain plays, it just seems low effort. Like, I'm like certain plays I was trying to watch, like on certain plays where the Packers would convert on third down and they would show the replay. Sometimes I would watch Chase Young, and like, if he didn't get past the defender or if he couldn't get past the offensive lineman, he would just give up. And it was almost like the same thing every single time. It was like his power rush that he does. There's no spin move. There's no combo. There's no technique. There's nothing like that. It's literally
That's
straight.
true.
It's literally straight power rush. And if
It's
it
bull
doesn't work,
rush.
it's straight bull rush. And if it doesn't work,
sometimes he does
whatever.
he collapses the pocket a little bit. He'll move the tackle back.
He
but
does,
it's like,
but
we want more from this.
we
guy.
want more from you. And like, I knew the Niners wouldn't do this, but Montez Sweat, he literally led the Bears in sacks in half a season that he was there. He led the Bears in sacks. Now, obviously, he's signed to a contract, so I don't know if the Niners wanted to hold on to that contract, but honestly speaking, Montez Sweat right now on the other side, even with his contract, I would say he's better than what we're getting for Chase Young. Even though Chase Young for 200, I think 200K this year, 300K, not a lot, but the effort isn't there from Chase Young. I want to see Randy Gregory get more playing time. I want to see Robert Beal get more playing time. I saw Robert Beal out there on Saturday and a couple of snaps in the third quarter. But listen, if you're not showing effort in a playoff game, and like it feels like you're giving up, and it's not just one or two people saying it, it's literally multiple 49ers fans, the national media. That's not cool, man. Like, and it's not like it's just not it. And honestly speaking, Chase Young reminds me of a Jadeveon Clowney. Like, the athleticism is what made him so great in college. He's the athleticism, and then after that torn ACL, that athleticism is gone. But there's no technique. There's no, anything different. It's straight power bull rush, and if that doesn't work, he just gives up.
So it sounds like you have buyer's remorse. I mean, regarding
I don't have buyer's remorse because what we're getting him at is like what 200K this year. I don't care,
Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't. It's not really that big of a loss for the 49ers. But at the same time, moving on to
It
NFC
is a third
Championship
round
game,
pick, though. It is a third round pick.
it is a third round pick, but realistically, like okay, let's think about it like this: when the Niners did make this deal, and when you looked at how much the Niners are paying him, did you think it was a good idea?
Yeah.
All of us would have done it, right? Anybody sitting up here would have done it, and not even forget about John. Any GM in that instance would have made that trade, right? So, am I upset that the Niners did it, or even if it's a third round pick, I would have made the trade also. I would have pulled the trigger around like Chase Young with Nick Bosa on this defense, only 200K salary, third round pick. Frick yeah, this is our Super Bowl window. You got to put all your chips on the table sometimes. Frick it, third round pick ain't gonna hurt. I would have done it also, but has the production been there? No. And honestly speaking, I feel like you could get more moving forward from a Randy Gregory or a Robert Beal. I feel like they deserve more opportunities because Chase Young simply isn't getting it done. And if Chase Young doesn't step up or learn technique or add something to his pass rush bag, which he doesn't have any bag, but he's got to figure out a bag. But if he doesn't, he's gonna be a Jadeveon Clowney in the league where he bounces around teams, he gets 1-year contracts here and there. He's gonna be a Jadeveon Clowney.
Wow.
Chase Young, he had the same amount of tackles as Bosa in the game.
But watching that game, who would you say was more impactful?
Oh, it was Bosa,
Just
no
straight
doubt.
up.
No
No
doubt.
doubt, right? And I
Yeah.
understand the people that are like getting mad about Bosa, but he is having some sort of an impact in the game, right? Like you said, that spin rush move that we obviously saw, that he got past the defender. He's getting the hits. He's getting quarterback pressures. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, as a Niners fan, do I wish to see a little bit more based off the price tag? Of course, but is he still having some sort of an impact on the game where you watch it and you're like, okay, he's disrupting multiple plays? Frick yeah. So do I obviously wish I got a little bit more? Of course, right? Because of that price tag. But is he Chase Young? Like where I'm like, even though he's getting the tackles and whatnot, it's like there's still like the effort that I see from Chase Young on the field is just not there.
Yeah, I haven't seen the lack of effort, but the production is not there, and I think his time is limited with the 49ers. But I think we know who Amin Step Your Game Up is, because we pretty much went over it with Chase Young. I think that's definitely a guy who needs to step up. He's in the last year of his contract. He wants to get that big money, but he's not really proving to be a edge rusher that's an impact player. He's yet to prove that. Hopefully he'll have 2 more games to do that. But the better
Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, give us a multiple sack performance, get your contract, and get out of here.
Hey, the better he plays, the more it'll benefit the squad, obviously. So, that's what Chase Young's motivation should be. But yeah, I think he hasn't met expectations so far. But as far as step your game up, if I had a player, I hate to say this about this guy, Ambry Thomas, he's had a topsy-turvy season. He was, as we all know, he was basically on the roster bubble at the beginning of training camp to even make the roster. He eventually made it, and I thought he played well in multiple games, but he struggled in this game. There's no doubt about that. He's the coverage is
lightly.
good.
That's putting it lightly, Jay.
Right, he's the one guy, bro, where I hopped up. I was going off to my wife about it. I've been having his back all year. I'm freaking just, yeah. I won't say, I threw some curse words.
Is he the weak link on defense? I would say, yeah, he definitely is the weak link.
He's been since he's gotten here, Jay.
No. So you're saying he had no good games this year?
I'm not saying that he hasn't had good games this year, but if you realistically think about it, if I'm an OC or I'm a head coach or I'm an offensive coordinator of another team, when a team literally attack Ambry, because yes, he might make
coming.
He might make a play. He might make a play, right? But even when he does make a play, pass interference sometimes. Literally, there's 2 drives at least in this game. And even in the beginning of when his rookie year, and I get it, I'm not going to criticize him. He's gotten better, right? But even that rookie year, that Falcons game, for example, Russell Gage was cooking him. And Matt Ryan or whoever the quarterback kept throwing the ball that way, And maybe I don't even remember one time where I could say, and he probably did, but like I maybe might be too harsh. But I would say 90% of the time, Ambry wouldn't come out successful. It would be either the opposing receiver mossing him, or even if Ambry did make a play, it'd be him grabbing a dude, and it was an incompletion, but it's a pass interference call. Ambry's a liability. Next week, I am literally scared. I'm scared because if he has to go up against Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm telling you, if I'm Kyle Shanahan next week, I'm like Charvarius Ward or Demo. Like, especially Charvarius Ward, I'm like Charvarius Ward, go out and guard Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because I do not want Ambry Thomas anywhere near Amon-Ra St. Brown next week.
So if that's the case, then Ambry doesn't see the field because Ambry's not playing slot corner. So Ambry won't see the field.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. But, I mean, I think he will.
I think the coverage is fine. If we're talking about those two plays where you got the PI, he's there. He's in position. He just panics when he's that close to the
you can't panic.
I agree.
Those are game-turning. Those are like game-changing mistakes there.
The first one, he got completely cooked. That's why he held. Like, if he didn't do what he did, that's an easy touchdown. So I was kind of okay with it because I'm like, all right, hey, you know what? He could have got cooked, but he didn't, and that's why he held on to him. He stopped the touchdown, but he was the one that was about to give the touchdown up. So it's just kind of, I was cool with the first one. All right, I think they got a field goal, if I remember right. So it's like, all right, hey, it wasn't a TD. That's good. But then the deep one, it's like you're in position. Like I don't know. He even had his head turned around and still committed. It's just, yeah, man.
Deontay Johnson trying to come back.
Who do you put in for him? There's no Jason Verrett. You can put Sammy Womack in there, sure. Right.
That's what I was gonna get at. Yeah, Niners got to at least have a plan B in mind.
Right.
But you know what
if someone gets hurt?
You know what probably is or what happens if Ambry? What if the Lions, the first series, their game plan is a Jameson Williams go ball 1-on-1 on Ambry? Let's find out what this dude's going to do. And if Ambry decides to tackle the wide receiver instead of trying to locate the ball and bat it away like you're supposed to, you got to have a plan B ready. But what concerns me, you know what the plan B probably is? Isaiah Oliver.
Oh,
that's
God.
Probably the plan B. And we already saw that. Been there, done that. This is why, I'm like, why didn't Sam Womack get any reps this year? Because I would be like, let me see what Womack's got. I don't think they're going to turn to a rookie in Darrell Luter at this point. So that Ambry's going to be the guy. I think we just got to cross our fingers and hope that he doesn't do what he did this past game. But Niners got to have a plan B ready to go just in case Ambry starts tackling wide receivers premature.
I think that's been part of that's been part of the problem. For instance, when Debo went out, how do you go from there? What area of the field do you attack? Who do you use in Debo's place? Now, when Ambry played the whole game and he was struggling pretty much the whole game. Now, why didn't sideline Steve take him out? Why didn't Kyle Shanahan say you need to put someone else in? Why don't they trust other guys? I mean, you look at Womack, he hasn't played much on defensive snaps this year, so he technically is a rookie. So you take Ambry out, who's played more snaps, and you put Womack in. Is that better? I don't know.
Working, right? That's the thing, Jay. If it isn't working and it's like, then you got to do something, right? Like they have the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke and it continues to be breaking even more and more and more, then like it's like you got to replace the part eventually, because eventually, that part gonna break in half or it's gonna be completely shattered. That's why I don't like hitting on Ambry, because I've met Ambry before. He's given me a shout out before. I got it on my phone. He's giving me a shout out. And I've always thought about asking Ambry to come on the pod.
Where's that at? You got to send us the clip. We got to put that up here.
That's the thing. Like if I ever, like, he's given me the shout out before, but like that's why I hate crapping on Ambry, because I've always thought about asking him, "Yo, Ambry, you want to come on the pod?" But if he like pulls back some of our old clips of us just straight going off on Ambry Thomas, I'm gonna feel like such a bad person.
I could never invite Ambry Thomas on my. I beat him up too bad, but I've apologized because he did outperform some of my expectations. But hey, one more guy I wanted to hit on for the bad. hold up. It was, you know what? It was it was the run D. It was the run D. Aaron Jones kept getting to the edge. And then how about Chase Young? But it also happened to Nick Bosa, where wide receivers are blocking these guys. So come on, Chase Young, Nick Bosa, step your game up. You can't be getting manhandled by crack blocking wide receivers. Like, blow that dude up and then get the running back. So that was one more step your game up. I had to say, run D, especially where I know we got a Lions preview coming up, but especially with these boys the Lions got, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, run D better step your game up.
Real talk, real talk. Hey, man, I was defending pressures earlier in the season. Because when I really think about pressures, you mentioned it, Baller, about Nick Bosa. Sometimes pressures create interceptions, or there's a lot of good that can come from those pressures. You getting the quarterback off their spot, and you know what I'm saying. But then the more I think about it, is when Ambry is having a game like he's having, and you're Nick Bosa, you didn't play all training camp. You should have a full tank. That was my big thing in the beginning of the year. He's going to have a full tank. Watch playoff time. Watch playoff time. Man, he's making quarterback money. I haven't seen a Nick Bosa quarterback impact signature moment in the playoffs. I don't know if y'all remember a Nick Bosa just game where he took over, or and then the one that I can remember is the Super Bowl, him being held in the Super Bowl. Other than that, eh, if I don't have a clear memory of him wreaking havoc, doing something like you would see a Von Miller do with the Rams, like, you see some of these teams that Chris Jones, when they get in that playoff mode, you see them doing those kind of things.
I
And
think it's coming, Kelts. I think it's
I
coming.
hope to
Hey,
God it's coming,
Coach.
because he's making that Fetty. He didn't have no training camp. There's just no excuses. Like you,
It's coming
and
right here.
especially that's where we put all our investment on this D line. And we got to wink. I don't want to call him a weak link, but Ambry Thomas, that's the equalizer. Step your game up, D line. Do. That's the vision what this team had. We are going to put it all on the D line. If Chase Young ain't cutting it, come on, Randy Gregory, make the adjustment. Sideline Steve. If they're not getting home, blitz, man, do it early. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't make the adjustment at halftime. Set the tone early, like Dante Whitner versus the freaking Saints. Set the damn tone. Get after the quarterback. Don't let them start picking us apart where, like Jay, like we've all took turns saying, the front running style, sometimes you can't wait. At least me personally, I would go full throttle straight out the gate, because I don't think any team would expect that, blitzing like that, then chill back. Get them a little rattled, get them thinking twice, then calm it down, and then kind of, take it as it comes after that. But yeah, D-line, they got to step it up, man,
Hey, Coach.
regardless. What's up?
This is a hypothetical. I've asked this question before, but if going into next offseason, the Raiders called the Niners up, or John Lee's called the Raiders up and said Max Crosby, Nick Bosa. I've asked this question before, but after what he's done in the playoffs and what he's done this year, would you do it? Personally, and this might be recency bias, but I would. Max Crosby is a one-man wrecking show for like the last 3 years consistently without injury.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, man. It's it's kind of a coin flip on that one. It's just it's hard. It's hard right on the spot, but I'm keeping what I got. But
You saying trade them straight up, Nick Bosa
Yeah.
for Max Crosby? I think
I'm keeping both.
I think you'd be in the same spot, because you still need another edge. Like, we're still going to draft another edge rusher this year, I'm sure.
I thought a meme was going to say if you could get Crosby for something. I was licking my chops on that one, but
Nah.
yeah.
I mean, Max Crosby, they ain't gonna get rid of Max Crosby. The Raiders,
We'll just give you Gregory. I kind of like Gregory though, man. But yeah,
he'll be a free agent, so
we'll give you Bill, Gregory.
I would personally make the trade, even though I love me some Nick Bosa, but we've always said the last couple of years we need to get Nick Bosa, someone on that other side. Who does Max Crosby have on that other side? If we're being honest, the last couple of years, Max Crosby is still like straight up dominating.
He used to have Chandler Jones before he went cuckoo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Cleveland Farrell. Man, we're kind of missing him right now. He was
he got hurt at the
worst
That's a great point.
year.
Cleveland Farrell, one thing he does is set a freaking edge, and Aaron
Yeah.
Jones kept getting
Yes.
to the edge. So that's a good point, Kelts. Farrell was missed.
No, absolutely.
Who would have thought we'd be in the playoffs, man? Cleveland Farrell, man, we're kind of missing him a little bit right now. Man.
He was the key the whole time. We didn't even know. Hey, so quick round table. Who is your game ball going to? For me, it's I would say I'll give it to Dre Greenlaw, my game ball. Who you got, Celts?
Hey man, got to give it to CMC. It probably would have been Greenlaw, but just when you watch him run, it's like you can see how bad he wants it. Even though he was getting bottled up. I mean, there's a couple times where it looked like he was completely dead stopped. A lot of running backs hit the ground, and he's still making sure to get one or two more fall. It's like, okay, like man, he got a couple. He got that. Even if he just got one or two more, it's like I love that. I love that. Isaiah Pacheco. Yeah, y'all know me, just old school, man. Just, Tom Rathman and John Riggins and Earl Campbell and Walter Payton and just that kind of, just runner. You know what I'm saying? You can see the heart when they're just, when it's great. Even when it isn't there, they're giving it their all. The opposite of Ryan and Chase Young. And that's another main reason why we are where we are is CMC for sure. The heart.
Before Baller takes my answer, I'm just gonna say Juwan Jennings, and that's all I gotta say.
Mother, you little slime ball.
Slime ball. That was a good one.
No, like as been stated, Dre Greenlaw, phenomenal performance of outstanding, especially that game sealing pick at the end. Like that was special. Like for him to get in that throwing lane, I know Love is throwing across his body, but Dre Greenlaw is just so freaking special. That being said, we got some good guys taken. As we're talking right now, Christian McCaffrey probably has like 3 masseuses just trying to get him right. He's probably still got the massage gun in the other hand. Like, hopefully McCaffrey is going to be as close to 100% as possible because, man, I think he's a little banged up, but we're going to need him.
Oh, yeah. Does anybody else see CMC? Just like there's sometimes where I'm like, oh shit, is he gonna get up? And then he kind of gets up like almost nothing happened. Like I'm just like, man, yeah, CMC, he's a beast.
Man. He's a warrior. He's
and I think it comes with the mentality too. Like sometimes I don't know how to explain it, but we've all played sports when you just have a certain mindset on not letting it hurt or you're not going to, and you're gonna. Before getting hit, you hit like that it kind of allows you helps you to stay being that beast, like for sure, man.
No, absolutely.
The guy I'm going Demo. I'm going with my guy,
the hyena.
I've been hyping up for years. And if you don't believe me, just type in Bay Area Baller and then Lenore or Demo, and a bunch of shit will come up. Me trying to tell everybody Demo is the slot of the future. Why aren't they playing him in the slot? And he absolutely balled out. Demo loves to hit people. He's physical. Not the biggest guy, but he is so freaking physical for his size. Like Diamador Lenore can play for me anytime. So that's who's getting my game ball. He was wrecking havoc, blowing stuff up.
Yeah. And if you're a Jets fan, go on YouTube, type in.
But that's only because Amin stole Juwan Jennings. Amin stole Juwan Jennings from me, so I had to pivot. But hey, shout out Demo.
Hey, Baller, you didn't hear what I said? If you're a Jets fan, if you're a Jets fan, go on YouTube, type in Barry Baller, and then search up Zach Wilson or Zach.
Here I'll be the meme. Hell no to the
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't find out how much I love Zach Wilson. Don't do it.
Hey, great selections by everyone. Got a lot of people in the chat across all the channels. We appreciate everyone, leaving their comments and liking the video. We appreciate it. Is it time, fellas? Is there any other closing thoughts on this game, or should we go to the Niners versus Lions preview real quick?
Well, let me just, let me say this real quick. It's just the style, the hard. Yes, Low. I'm not. I understand. He is nowhere near Man, Walter Payton is one of my all-time favorites, bro. I could go all the way back to Jim Thorpe or Crazy Legs Hurst or something like that. Like, hey, I know my history, my man, but it's the style and the heart, and he never gives up. Hey, who knows what Pacheco could be in 10 years?
Well,
It's
and,
still
and you
early
had him
on.
on your fantasy team.
Yeah, and
Don't
that.
lie.
So yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I seen him in the Super Bowl. I was like, man, I love that heart. It's just certain people got a certain heart, and you could see it when they run. That's all it was, my man.
Yeah,
That's
his
all.
running style, it's like he's trying to run through a wall. Like it's you don't see too many backs that
Yeah.
run like that.
It's like watching a dude run in slow motion, but he's trying to run as fast as he can.
What's that? What's that? Man, what song is that? Busta Rhymes, something like "Whip Your Head" or "Break Your
Break
Neck"
your
or
neck,
something.
break your neck.
Yeah. That's a Pacheco right there. That man be whiplashing himself the whole way through, getting
Hey,
it.
man, he definitely is a beast. He's definitely hard to tackle, that's for sure. Hey, so obviously the Niners playing the Detroit Lions at Levi Stadium. The Lions, I mean, a great job by their head coach Dan Campbell, a former player. He actually was on the Detroit Lions when they went 0-16. Now he's their head coach. The first time in 30 years that they've won a playoff game. I think they won their division this year. Obviously won their playoff games. Now they're in the NFC Championship. Don't remember the last time they were in the NFC Championship, but it was probably before 2000 for sure. But it's going to be a hell of a game. The Lions are a pretty good offensive squad, especially in the regular season. You look at their top 5 offense, you look at total yards, points scored, passing yards, rushing yards. They got a 2-headed monster at running back with Montgomery and the rookie Gibbs. Their run defense is top 2 as far as yards allowed. So they're pretty good, pretty good. I would love to ask you fellas and also the chat, what's one key to the game to ensure a victory for our 49ers? I'll start off with myself. I think a huge key for the 49ers will be, I think I wrote this down. I think you got to run like there's no tomorrow. And if CMC is banged up, then you got to use Elijah Mitchell. I know this Detroit Lions run D is top 2 as far as the regular season, but I think you have to keep you have to be able to pass and you have to be able to run. You can't be a one-dimensional offense. So I think CMC 20-25 carries. Of course, he's going to add another 7 to 10 targets in the passing game. But I want to see Elijah Mitchell out there, get him some run. He's got fresh legs. We know CMC doesn't have that. So, hey, keep this defense honest, and you do that by having a consistent run game. Even if you're only getting 3 or 4 yards a carry, there were times in the game against the Packers where that's all CMC was getting. I know he had the big run, but you got to keep this defense honest by running the ball, and you take some pressure off Purdy. You also win that time of possession as well, which is key. So my key for victory, run the ball. Chat, I would love to know what you guys feel for your key to victory for our 49ers against the Lions this week. Let's go with Amin the Dream. What is one key for you?
I mean, mine would probably also be running the ball, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of that, not necessarily complete Jimmy offense, but where you don't need Purdy throwing the ball that much. Run the football down their throat, give Brock Purdy easy passes, make it as easy as possible for you. You don't need Brock Purdy running empty sets 20 times a game. You don't need to make it overcomplicated. Make it as simple as possible. Don't overthink it, Kyle Shanahan. And that's why, in a way, I'm kind of saying the Jimmy offense, where it's like easy passes for Brock Purdy, screens, running the football as much as you can, whether that might be with Elijah Mitchell or Christian McCaffrey. Make it as easy as possible for you to win. If we come out in the NFC Championship game and I see Brock Purdy drop back 4 times in the first drive or 3 times in the first drive, I'm going to lose my crap. So, Kyle Shanahan, make it as easy as possible for you. A little bit of that Jimmy offense where it's easy passes for Brock Purdy, running the ball, using Christian McCaffrey, and then defensive line, step your game up. Like, we need you in this game. If we don't want Ambry Thomas to look like a high schooler against Amon-Ra St. Brown, we need the defensive line to show up. So defensive line, this is what the Niners team is built on, the trenches, the offensive line, especially that defensive line where we've invested so much in. Defensive line, go out and do your thing, step up, especially in this game. Get Jared Goff uncomfortable. You make Jared Goff uncomfortable. I wouldn't even mind blitzing a little bit more in this game because Jared Goff struggles against the blitz, and he struggles when you get pressure on him. So yeah, defensive
He's a
line.
statue.
He is a
Goff,
statue.
he's got kind of slow feet in the pocket, like he's playing in cement. So I think this is the get right week for this D
This
line.
is the get right.
And Jared Goff has struggled against us. He's lost like the last 5 against us, right? So he might be seeing ghost against us, but we got to go out there and make Jared Goff get pressure after Jared Goff, make him get the ball out quickly, make him make quick decisions, get him uncomfortable. Offensively, run the football, do your thing, but make Jared Goff uncomfortable. That's probably the biggest key. Is if you make him uncomfortable, he's gonna make some hesitant decisions. You might get a pick here and there. So if you get pressure on Jared Goff, he's a completely different quarterback. So get pressure after him, make him as uncomfortable as possible. And if you go out and do that, I think the Niners have a pretty good shot at winning this game. I do not want to end up losing an NFC Championship game again this year. I hate making literally seeing the finish line and then having your kneecap being bitten off the last couple of years and then just falling right before the finish line. And you just see it right in front of you that you can't do anything about it. So don't let your kneecap get bitten off this week, please.
Please, no bitten kneecaps. You said one thing, Jay, in the Bay.
Yeah, one key to victory.
Key to victory, Kyle Shanahan. I'm done. That's it. No, I'm kidding. No. Nah, for real though. But Amin said a lot of it, man. But it's Kyle Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan. I like the points Amin made. Hey, throw a screen. When was the last time we seen CMC on a screen? Get Trent. Just get creative again. But do what you did to get there. Like simplicity, just get into your brand of football. Don't try to get trickery with when I'm gonna pass, and just bring out the rhythm. You got to get the rhythm established early. Bring that West Coast Kyle Shanahan offense, man, that your dad ran the whole time. Throw a screen out there, run it up the middle, throw a quick slant, just get it in rhythm, to where everybody could settle down. Don't let it be 2, 3 drives and then you're still searching for identity or rhythm. Like, you got to get it quick. You got to get up in there, let them know, and on defense, even if it's just a hard hit, man, you got to set the tone on both sides, man. So, and Kyle Shanahan runs this team, even the defense, man. He is the man that has to establish that tone. He's the man running the show. So Kyle, man, it's going to be sunny. I think this is the get right game. There ain't gonna be no rain. I believe the sun's gonna be out and it's gonna be 3:30 and the sky's gonna open up and Purdy's gonna be looking like Purdy. And there will be no, I can almost guarantee you, unless Mike Tyson shows up, there will be no kneecaps bitten off. I can promise you that. And we're going to be heading to the damn Super Bowl. Regardless of all the stuff about Kyle, I think this is the week that we show why we're going to be in the Super Bowl. And, I'll throw a score prediction. And I feel like when we are at our peak, I feel like we've thrown up quite a few 42s. I don't want to go that far, but hey, it might as well almost be that far. I think we're going to put up 38, man. I don't know how much they're going to put up, but I feel like it could be a blowout, man. Like, I hope it is. But the Lions do have arguably, the second best weapons to us if Debo is healthy and everything. I mean, hey, the Lions are nothing to sneeze at. Their offensive line is good, but we got to get the Goff. Now, I think history has shown that Goff and the Lions and the 49ers, if no matter which way you split it, I think it's over. I think it's like anytime the Lions even come, I would have to go look it back up, but history is 100% in our favor. I know that kind of don't matter when when Sunday comes, but hey, it's good to have that confidence as well.
I'm gonna go. My score prediction will be 31-30 Niners. What's yours? I mean,
is that on the Moody?
I'm gonna even after last week's performance, I'm gonna go 31. I'm gonna go 31. 20. I'm gonna be a little bit nice. I was gonna say 13, but I'm gonna go 31-20. I think the Niners get it done comfortably. You got to think about the script. The script has to be kept alive. Don't y'all know that, like, the Super Bowl rumors thing? Like, the script is the Niners are gonna end up beating the Lions, and we gonna end up making it to the Super Bowl. So either way, I think the Niners are winning this game.
Hey, was that real? That was real? Like, what was
Last
that on?
couple, the
It
last
was
couple
on.
of years, like the
No,
last
well,
couple of years, yeah.
it was on the news or something where someone had. I thought it was fake, but
Nah,
someone
it was
put
it was
up.
on the news. Like the 49ers Ravens playing the Super Bowl February
Yeah,
11th.
Usher and whoever else is going to
Yeah, and then
perform.
it's also like the logo theory where, like, the last couple of years, especially the last
Yeah.
2 years, of like the logo thing. But then there's like that news channel that
Oh,
posted
yeah.
on their like caption 49ers Ravens. I think the 49ers make it. I wouldn't mind playing the Chiefs though. I feel like it would be easy, even though I'm not saying it would be that much easier, but I'd rather beat the Chiefs. I'd rather play the Chiefs. I feel like it's a little bit of an easier matchup for the 49ers, especially considering their receivers. But Mahomes is no joke, man. If the fact that he's made it this far with that, like, cast, freaking insane. But get it done, 49ers. I don't want, another heartbreak and I have to come back here on Monday and talk about how depressing my weekend was. So get it done, please.
What say you, E?
Man, last game, my key was run defense, and it almost came back to bite them. It almost cost us. I'm going right back there. Niners got to stop the run. The Lions got a pair of really good running backs, more specifically Jahmyr Gibbs. Shout out Carcast. I know he said it in the chat, the little homie. Jahmyr Gibbs is electric. Like, this dude looks dynamic with the ball. You take one wrong angle, and he can house it. So the defense needs to be locked in every snap. You got to contain the run because that's the bread and butter. That's what they want to do. Like, Goff will throw it when he has to, but if they can hand it off to Montgomery and he's getting 5 yards a clip, and then they sprinkle in Jahmyr Gibbs and his dynamic ability. So the run D, and I know Jay only said one, but I'm going to add in. You can't let Amon-Ra St. Brown beat you. Amon-Ra St. Brown is freaking awesome. This dude, he's legit. And I am worried they're going to kind of put him on, the left side of the offense to match him up with Ambry. We'll see if, we have seen Charvarius travel at times, like in limited capacity. The one that comes to mind is when he traveled with DK Metcalf. But it'd be nice if they – what's up?
That just feels like a demo assignment. Just
he's a slot, yeah,
because St. Brown, just his stature, he just seems a little more shifty. It feels like yeah, man.
And I think we're gonna see a lot of that too with St. Brown and Demo because St. Brown does play a lot in the slot.
Yeah.
But real quick, while I'm talking about the slot, one thing I did not like to see was, did you guys see Tayshaun Gibson lining up in the slot, like lined up guarding wide receivers? Like, I saw him on multiple wide receivers, Christian Watson, and I don't know if I like that matchup.
I just remember him slipping in the end zone on that 2-point conversion. I was like, bro, what you doing? Like, who's over there? And he slipped.
That was on the touchdown.
Yeah, that was on that touchdown or 2-point. I remember it was in the end zone.
Yeah, it was just embarrassing just watching any of our guys slipping like that.
We not got like the same equipment or something like that. Like, do the Packers be paying Nike or Adidas extra or something for like some nicer cleats or something like that?
No,
I don't know.
Somebody screwed up.
We changed cleats in that game in like the first quarter, and we were still slipping.
They were saying, I think Kruger had a discussion about that with Low Neal, fullback legend who needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But he was saying that there's three sides of cleats: the short ones in great weather, the long ones you can use them in rain, but it's too sticky. It's like the guys are running in mud, so they didn't want the long ones. So I guess they settled for the middle ones, but clearly, that wasn't sufficient. So hopefully, it looks like we won't have to worry about the rain the next game. But in regards to E, you mentioned the run defense. I know one game this year in the regular season, we added another defensive lineman to that front. So we had a 5-man front. Maybe that's something we do against Detroit because we know they're going to run the ball. And I was even thinking, usually our linebackers are about 5 to 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Maybe, I don't know, get a little bit closer. I know that means the middle of the field will be open a little bit more, but you got to force you got to be able to stop the run so that way you can make Jared Goff beat you with his arm, and that's when we can really rush after him. So, and just real quick about Amon-Ra St. Brown, all pro player this year, hell of a talent. If he lines up across Ambry Thomas, sideline Steve has to know that that's coming. So either he needs to double him. I don't know. You got to do something because that's
sure someone's over the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but they should already be prepared for that because obviously he's had a breakout year. He's been pretty good ever since he's been drafted in the NFL. But I think this is his first All Pro year. So, as you mentioned before, Mooney Ward could travel with him, but they like to line Amon-Ra St. Brown all over the field. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because he's definitely a hell of a player and he can change the game. Absolutely. So it looks like we're all taking, of course, the 49ers to win.
Let me drop a score. I think I forgot a score, Jay. I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going 27-24 Niners.
Nice. So the only blowout was, 30 to 21, right?
31-20.
31-20. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the AFC real quick. You got the Chiefs visiting the Ravens. Everyone's prediction last week. I think me and Amin took the Bills.
I took the Chiefs.
Y'all two went undefeated, and then me and Baller both took the Bills. So
who you guys got next week? Chiefs visiting the Ravens. I'll start it off. I will take Baltimore at home. Who you got? Celts.
Ooh, man. That freaking defense, man. Baltimore's defense, man. They ain't playing no games. It's probably going to be a cold environment. Neither team is, both teams are accustomed to that. So, that's not going to really favor anybody, I don't think. And, man, this one is hard. If I had to pick, I would want to face the Chiefs. I'm not choosing because of a weaker opponent. It's just because, I would love to get them back. I mean, it's like the Ravens, they ain't even the same Ravens. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's the same team, but it's not the same team. So that's what's hard, man. As a fan, I probably would be rooting for Baltimore, and I think Baltimore could do it. So I'm going to just take the Ravens, but I would love to see the Chiefs.
How about you, Amin the Dream? Who you got?
I'm gonna go Ravens. But I want to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So I want to play that. I like Kelt said. I want that revenge. So I want to see the Chiefs. I'm rooting for the Chiefs, but I think the Ravens are just too good, and I think they get it done.
The D, yeah.
Yeah, I can't let this be a clean sweep. I'm sorry. I picked against Mahomes last week. Well, shame on me. I think Mahomes is going to get it done. I love Lamar Jackson. He might be the most dynamic quarterback we've ever seen when you're talking pass game and run games. I mean, he's the greatest running quarterback I've ever seen. And this is coming from a big Mike Vick fan. But Lamar's just different. That being said, every once in a while, man, Lamar can put up kind of a clunker where he misses some throws, and that he should have hit. That being said, I think one of those games might be coming. I'm rolling with Mahomes. That defense has been playing really good ball. Chris Jones, they got this guy Karlaftis who's rushing the quarterback. L'Jarius Sneed is a really freaking good corner. Like, that defense is really good. And I think Mahomes and Kelsey kind of got it going after kind of a sluggish year. And they got Kelce's boy, Rashee Rice, is making some plays. So I think it's going to be a tight one, but I'm not picking against Mahomes again.
Wow.
And who's Bolton? Bolton is a
linebacker.
Yeah, because every time I see the Chiefs, I'm like, yeah, man, I like Bolton, man. But
he wears number 32, which is kind of a weird linebacker number, but he definitely stands out. But the Ravens got some good linebackers too. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a game.
It's gonna be smash mouth. That's gonna be a smash mouth game right there.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. Hey, Niners are hosting the NFC Championship game next Sunday. We will be back next Monday night. Feel free, drop your closing thoughts. If you got any shows coming on your channel, let the people know who are still in the chat. Let's start off with Kelps Chronicles. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Hey, I can be taking it easy. Like hey, this is my weekly show with y'all, man. So every Monday night for right now, it might change one day, but every Monday night, typically around 8 o'clock, come through and we're gonna be back here for another Victory Monday. Y'all know where to find me, man. Much love every single time, man. Yee.
What you got, E?
Hey, chat was live tonight. We appreciate all you guys. Hey, make sure you hit that like button on the way out so more people see it, more people watch it. But hey, man, I'm going to be looking forward to this game, and I might sprinkle in a show coming up here. Definitely, I'll be live post game. So, man, what an exciting time of the year. But fellas, this is the time. Niners got to step it up. I want to see their A game. Because when the Niners play their A game, there's not a team in the NFL that can beat them. So
Come on.
let's put that out there. Last week against the Packers, that was not the A game. That was about what, like a C, maybe C plus game. But hey, let's put out the A game. You do that, you take care of business, and Niners are going to the Super Bowl.
Don't got anything planned, but we might if we we might sprinkle a show like Baller said, just a little bit, put a salt bay a show here and there,
Sprinkle me.
we'll see, but go Lakers, I just gotta put that out there. Closing thoughts, go Lakers.
Get this guy out of here.
And then instead of saying the Bang Bang Niner Gang, I'm gonna say do it for the Bay. We got that new song I saw on the Twitter. Do it for the Bay. Yeah.
Do it for the Bay.
Absolutely. Do it for the Bay. And once again, we appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. We'll see you guys next Monday night. I think Niners will get it done this week. I think it's going to be another close game, though, against Detroit. Detroit is very talented. They definitely believe in their coach, and it's going to be a hell of a game. So, hey, everyone have a good rest of your night. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yeah.